Hey, how's it going? Dylan here. Today we're going to be going through my ranking of the Mission Impossible series because of the upcoming release of Mission Impossible Fallout this week. Okay, so I've been graciously invited by Paramount Pictures Australia to go to the Mission Impossible Fallout Adelaide premiere this Wednesday night. And this video I'm going to be putting up on Tuesday, I believe, in advance for it. This is going to be my ranking of the original 5 films that are out already. And I went through, purchased them on Ultra HD, which you can see there, all nice matching covers, the way I like it. And basically I rewatched all of them to kind of refresh my memory and kind of get a real ranking. I've never really watched all of them together at the same time before, so it was quite an interesting experience. So let's get right into it, and we'll go in reverse order, so from my least favourite to the best. At number 5, the one that I consider the worst of the series, would definitely be Mission Impossible 2, which is directed by John Woo and filmed here in Australia. Now, straight off the bat, this is I love this film. It's great to watch, it's fun to watch. It has some really bad moments in it, but so bad that I just laugh at them. And that's partly because it's very John Woo. The other thing about it is that it's very entrenched in 2000s, like early 2000s movies. There's this thing that I noticed with a lot of early 2000s movies that fall into the same category as this, where absolutely everything about the film screams early 2000s. Like, absolutely. Like, from the get-go, this film, obviously, even the opening credit font looks so ugly, but very 2000s. And it follows through the whole film. Obviously, you get lots of John Woo moments, lots of slow-motion birds, and even a slow-motion scarf grab by Douglas E. Scott, which is fantastic and kind of turned into a meme online. But this film, I still love the third act, obviously the motorcycle chase, which is so over the top and so crazy. But when you compare it to all the other films, it just falls down. It's compared to still enjoyable, but it doesn't come anywhere close to the other films. Right, so at number 4, we have number 4. How about that? Ghost Protocol, which I know this might surprise some people. This is a lot of people's number 2 and things like that, but Ghost Protocol for me, it's a decent entry, but it doesn't really have the wow factor of the others above it. It kind of is just there. It has a great sequence, obviously the Burj Khalifa sequence in the middle of the film, but I feel the third act isn't as good as other third acts in the franchise, and not as exhilarating. The fight in the car park is pretty cool, but the metallic vest, not really a fan, and it just doesn't really hit a lot of high notes for me. I rewatched it the other day, as I said, and it was good, had some good moments, but it really didn't grab me a lot. And just like it didn't in the cinemas when I saw it. At number 3, we have Mission Impossible 1, which is the first one, obviously. Now, this one here, obviously, is 1 and 2 got restorations for the 4K releases, and they look bloody stunning. The first one is often kind of underrated or less talked about of the franchise, directed by Brian De Palma. It's a fantastically directed film and has some really good moments, some really awesome music cues. A lot of the films in this series do, but this is obviously the original one, and it works really well. One thing I'm always surprised about is how well the train sequence in the third act actually comes across and ages ridiculously well. It still looks fantastic. You'd think it would fall down eventually, but the effects work perfect, and they knew their bounds, and they made it look absolutely fantastic. Obviously, the iconic CIA sequence in the first one, and the mask reveals, and all that great stuff. Really thoroughly enjoy that first one, especially since I haven't seen it in a while. At number 2, we have Mission Impossible 3, which is the J.J. Abrams helmed one. Up until this rewatch, 3 was actually probably my favourite, had the most fond memories of. But when rewatching, definitely kind of this one slid into second, but this is still a really solid film. J.J. Abrams, it was his first directorial debut for feature film, And it does show a little bit, like it's very raw in his kind of the quirks that you know him for in his later work. But it definitely has all the hallmarks of a good JJ production. It has a really fast pace, like everything flows really well into one another, and a really damn fantastic villain in Philip Seymour Hoffman. It also has, in my opinion, the best opening for any of them by far. The cold open on this one is fantastic, very emotional. Really love this film absolutely to bits. And this, in number 3, kind of started the musical cues of the second lot of the Mission Impossible films, which kind of carried over that little tune. And finally, at number 1, my favourite Mission Impossible film is Mission Impossible 5 Rogue Nation, which is obviously the latest one, and directed by Christopher McQuarrie, who's directing the new one, Fallout, so I'm very much looking forward to it. This one originally didn't do as well for me in my ranking when I saw it in the cinemas, but upon a nice rewatch and revisit, I really enjoy this film. It is beautifully shot. A lot of films in Mission Impossible are shot anamorphically, obviously, but this one is just so nice to look at. It has some great beats, some really good kind of musical building of tension or like scenes, and everything flows really well. It's kind of espionage-y. I guess you could say it kind of combines elements of the first film in terms of the raw espionage part of it, and parts of number 3 and 4 in terms of the action, and it makes it a really good film. And if they can do that again for this new one, just at a bigger scale, I'll be very, very happy with what they produce. Alright, thank you very much for watching my ranking video of the Mission Impossible movies. Look out for a review for Mission Impossible Fallout on hopefully Thursday morning. If you like the video, leave a like. Subscribe if you want to see more. Hit that bell button to be notified of new uploads when they become available. And follow me in the links below. Till next time, take care.